what's going on, guys, and welcome to the Cornerstone Builder. My name is Josh Donnelly, and in today's episode, we are going to take a look at how to add a simple real-time cart count notification to the carts in your navigation. So, what do I mean by that? Well, as you can see here, I have 3 items currently in my cart, and if I zoom back out here and I add another item to my cart, you'll notice that it now says I have 4 items. And if I add yet another item to my cart, you'll see it now says I have 5 items. So, how do we create something like this? Well, super easy. Let's go ahead and jump into the Cornerstone Builder. And as you can see, I have this element built right here, but we are going to build it from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and select this container here. And where I have my cart container, we will go ahead and delete that. So now that we have a clean slate, let's begin building. The first thing that we're going to want to do is create a div container to house this entire custom element inside of. So we'll click Add Element, and we're going to add a simple div here. So you'll notice we have that right here. Now, let's go ahead and name this div. We'll call this cart container. So this is the base container for the cart element that we're creating. Now, inside of that base container, we want to add our cart element. So we'll click here, we'll type cart, and you'll notice we have a couple of different things. We have a cart modal, we have a cart dropdown. I really like the cart off canvas, so that's what I'm going to use, but you could do this with pretty much anything. We'll go ahead and click cart off canvas. So now if I go ahead and close this out, we have this little cart right here. Now, let's first begin styling this and get it to the right size. So what I'm going to do is click on this, and then I'm going to go to my toggle here. I'll go ahead and minimize the off canvas piece. And here in the toggle, I want to make sure that the background is transparent because I just want to show my header in the background there. And then we'll go ahead and scroll down, and I'm going to turn border radius off and box shadow off. So now it just looks like a little basket sitting in our navigation there. I also want to use something a little more modern looking than the basket, so we might type in bag and go to our regular here and grab a bag. And then I think I want this to be a little bit larger, at least for the sake of this example. So let's go with 1.5 in size. And now I think that's looking pretty good. So the next thing we're going to do is select our cart container where we have our cart off canvas element. And inside of that container, we are going to add another element, which is going to be a simple div here. And now let's go ahead and label this div cart item count. Now we're going to start styling this. It's going to look a little bit wonky at first, but you'll see it all come together in the end. So with our cart item count container here, let's go ahead and inspect that and begin styling things here from top to bottom. First, we know we want our background color to be red, so we'll go ahead and set that to red. Then I know for the sake of this example that I want my width to be 1.5 ems and my height to be 1.5 ems as well. Now you could play around with this to make sure that it fits your design. Let's keep scrolling down. Our position we are actually going to change, but we're going to do this at the end so you can see everything come together. So we won't touch that just yet. Let's enable Flexbox and center everything here. Keep scrolling down, turn on our border radius and change this from 0 to 100 ems, and that gives us a nice round notification there. Now, within our cart item count div, let's go ahead and add another element, and you could add a headline or a text element or a raw element, but let's go ahead and add text. Now, we'll go ahead and inspect this text element here, and in our content, we'll delete the placeholder, open our dynamic content, type in cart, scroll down to where we have cart item count real time, and select that. Now you'll notice right away I have a 5 up in my notification there. Now let's work our way through these styles as well. We'll go ahead and make this bold just so it stands out a little bit more. Make it white so that there's a better contrast on the red background. I think I'm going to make the font just a little bit smaller here, maybe 0.85, and I think that's looking pretty good. So now we have a cart item count, we have our cart off canvas element, and then that's all housed within our cart container. So what do we need to do now to format things and get it looking and functioning like a native element? Well, let's come into our cart item count div here, click on that, scroll down to position, and as I mentioned, this is something that we're changing, and we're going to change this from position relative to absolute. And it's going to do something, but it doesn't look like it does a whole lot just yet. But now let's come in here, and under top, we'll set this to 0, which should bring it up to the very top. Now, I like it on the right-hand side, so what we're going to do is on the right side here, we're going to set this to 0, and you'll see it jumps over to the right. And I actually think that's looking pretty good. But if you need to play with the offsets a little, you can do that as well. So instead of 0, you could come in here and set this to -5, and that'll scoot it over just a little bit more if you needed that. But I'm going to go ahead and leave this at 0 because I think that's looking good there. So let's go ahead and save this here. and we'll jump out to the front end, and you'll notice it's looking nice. We'll click add to cart. It now says 6, and that's great. But one thing you'll notice, it's just a little nuance here, but if we click on the cart bag that we've created, the cart opens. But if we hover our mouse on the notification, it's selecting the text and doesn't really do anything unless we move back down to our little icon there. So how do we solve for this? Well, one more setting in our header builder here is to simply ensure that you have the cart item count div selected. So this is the div that contains our text. We're going to scroll up to the very top here, and where it has no pointer events, we're going to select all content. Now let's go ahead and save. We'll jump back out to the front end of our site and refresh. Let's first add something to our cart. So we see it change to 7 up there. And now you'll notice if I click on the 7, the cart opens. If I click on the red, the cart opens. If I click on the bag, the cart opens. And there, in a matter of minutes, you have created your own cart notification counter for WooCommerce. As always, I hope you guys find these videos useful, and I will see you guys in the next video. Happy building!